Welcome back to another episode of Shall We Proceed? I am your host, Erlene, a.k.a. Elise Main. Have you missed me? Because I've missed you. Mwah. Today is going to be awesome days. Episode number 8 for me, counting down to 10 and the end of season 1. And I'm excited about this show because it's about the fucked up world we live in called the US of A. I have some awesome guests with me today. First timer here, some veterans, some podcasters. It's going to be free flowing and just hopefully informative, entertaining. First things first, share this post right now. Invite your friends and family, your foes to watch. Do a watch party. I really appreciate it. Comment, say something, ask us questions, throw a topic down there, and we'll try to answer them as much as we can. And with that, I want to introduce my guests. And to my right, I have Wesley.
How y'all doing, everybody? Thank you so much. I'm happy to be on Erlene's show. I'm a big fan.
Hey.
So I'm very privileged to be on here with a dear friend and an amazing woman whose phone is going off.
Yeah, sorry.
But thank you so much for having me, Erlene. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. And to my left, one of my favorite people in the whole entire world, my podcast buddy.
What's up?
Yo,
man, I'm excited to be here. I've already seen kind of how the back office works here. It's a completely different feel, so I'm really excited to see. I can't get over that.
It's a different world when it's just me by myself.
I see that. So, but now you're not by yourself.
It's some 5-star treatment VIP shit over here.
I see.
VIP shit. I mean, get like me. I'm something like a pimp.
Start demanding a whole lot more now. Yeah.
Tell people who you are. Tell people who you are.
What's up, everybody? I'm Howard, and I'm one of the hosts of Intermission with, of course, the illustrious Erlene. So, pretty excited to be here today, talk some shit, and see where this goes. Got some great conversation topics today. So you guys can catch me at Howard_Jerome on Instagram and Intermission Podcast. Go ahead and plug that one real quick. I guess my business page too, Edwards Media Solutions, for all your marketing and business needs.
And
there you go.
To my far left, the beautiful, the amazing, the luscious, the juicy.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Janae Strickland-Nunn.
Hi, kids. My name is Janae Strickland-Nunn. I am the creator of Confessions from a Red Couch podcast and blog. I'm so happy to be here with Erlene and you guys and this topic, and I'm going to be very sweet and nice because that's who I am.
Sweet and nice.
Sweet and nice.
Always sweet and nice. So how y'all doing? How's everyone's weekend was, and how's your week been so far? I know it's only Tuesday.
Pretty good.
Well, the 4th of July weekend was amazing. I mean, we had all that extra time. Had 4th of July on a Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you had that long weekend. That was exactly what the doctor ordered.
And Jerome.
yeah, whatever. I'm actually a little sunburned right now, so I'm chilling. I took Dominic to the splash town today. Took the day off. So.
Oh, nice. Everyone
Little
can't do the whole day off in the middle of the week. Business owner, entrepreneur.
Right.
I mean, when you work 24 hours a day, sometimes you gotta give yourself a break. So. Yo, you the one. You brought me on there, right?
I did.
No,
I'm not. I'm loving it. How you been doing, Janae?
Great. The book is finished. The book I've been working on is finished. I finished it, actually Saturday. And so it is now with the final product is with an editor. And now going through
the title of your book is?
The Journey Back to Loving Yourself.
Awesome.
Yes, it should be available in August. I'm excited about it.
Oh, wow.
And then the reason why I look so tropical is because I'm going to Aruba on Thursday. I'm out. It's a girls' trip.
Nice.
Sorry, baby, I love you.
Nice. So this episode, because it's July, and I didn't want to do a 4th of July episode. I don't really do 4th of July, and I don't knock anyone who does. That's your business. It's a day off for me. I eat a lot of food, or I lay in the house, or whatever. It's a day off. But it's July, and people celebrate the independence of the United States. And I wanted to discuss bluntly how fucked up America really is. It's just a fucked up place. We all know it is.
It's been real different.
There's been change, there's been innovation or whatever it may be, but it's still fucked up. There's still many of us who do not have privileges or the guise of a privilege. Many of us are still going through many things, can't walk around freely, whatever it may be. So I just want to discuss different variety of topics. I sent everyone like 14 topics that we may touch on. And they're like, oh, shit, okay. And also, you're free to put some topics in the comments on our Facebook Live, people. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome, Jada. Welcome, Angela. What's up, Boo? What's up, Joyce? Everyone who's tuning in, thank you so much.
Aunt.
Hey, Auntie.
What's up, Auntie?
Hey, oh, that's my great auntie. Hey,
great Auntie.
Hey, Aunt Joyce.
So, whatever you think is crazy about this particular place that we live in, I say things what I want to say. I will curse if you're offended. I'm sorry.
It'll be all right.
It'll be all right. So the first topic I want to talk about, I know we got my clear brother here, but we love you. Is why is it we are so quick to invite folks to the cook-off, to the cookout? Like, why everybody getting a plate because they may agree? Why do we care so much that a person who's not of color happens to be on our side so quickly and want to, hey, you get to be brought to the cookout?
Well, I have a very unique opinion on this.
Oh shit, he coming first.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I had this moment this year, and for those of you out there that don't know, I'm about to have a baby. I'm very, very excited about it. And so my friend Tony, and so we're talking about Black Cook-Off. So he's a friend of mine, and it was at his house. Now, my black friend Tony happens to be the guy who's the rich one amongst all of us. He's the one that made it in real estate, and he has this beautiful place, and we're just there. And there was a moment that he and I had together, and I think this really encapsulates what a cook-off is and all the nostalgia that's around it. I mean, we had this moment where him and I had a scotch in our hands, and we were looking out, and the kids are playing in the pool, and it was sunny outside, and it was beautiful, and we just kind of looked at each other, and we're like, man, this is how I always hoped life would be.
But not everyone has that life, though.
Yeah, but you know what? But we're lucky, and we were enjoying that moment of
But
being
flip the
lucky.
role, and I mean, granted, you have the black friends, y'all get along, and I guess you've always been understanding or whatever to others' issues. But we see someone on social media or whatever they say, like bring them to the cook-off for one comment or one thing they may agree upon. Who gives a shit?
So I think the biggest thing comes in is that if you think about black people in America, all the way back from when we were brought over here as slaves, identity was taken away from us. And so any other ethnicity that's here, they have cultural ties to somewhere. So they don't look for acceptance from everyone here because they know that they're accepted from the people who've raised them, their cultural identify and all that.
True.
So you're in America with no cultural identity that is looked at as being just American. It's Black American or urban American and this, that, and the other. So to see that the mainstream is like, oh yeah, we accept this.
Yeah.
There are those who are looking for white validation or American validation. We're like, oh yeah, this person's cool. Let's go ahead and invite them. And I think that, and actually with you writing this book on self-love, you might identify with this more, is that we haven't learned to just be fine with being accepting of our own culture and that
That's
it's
true.
good enough.
I
and
totally
so I think
agree.
that plays a huge part into that.
It's always, I feel like it's like you said, we're looking for an ally, just somebody we could be like, oh, you kind of get us. Come on this way. And it's just, I think it's more about self-love, self-acceptance. Like, they don't get you, fine. We don't have to be like, oh, you rapped all Cardi B's lyrics, you get to come to the cookout. Like, no, because they might know that song, but that doesn't mean they understand. Everything. So
that actually makes me think. So I went to UT, which is predominantly white school, and one of the biggest things that I hated was that if I went to, let's say I was at a white frat party, they would have people of color coming in performing, and I used to hate seeing that. I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
Not because I'm ashamed of what the performance was, but because it's like they're not identifying with it. They're just like, oh shit, this is cool, and then you see something like a few months later, where they're like having, we're gonna have Thug Day, or something like that.
So they're really not identifying. They're not finding it to accept it. It's like
it's just another thing to either
entertain,
laugh at, mock, or something like that. And it's like we don't necessarily need the acceptance of other people. Like, just be accepting of ourselves. That our culture is good for what it is.
Exactly.
And I think the biggest thing is, when you say my background's a little bit different. because my family's not from United States. They're from the Caribbean. So I consider myself, he wants to have a more Afro-Caribbean, because I don't have any ties like that here.
Right, yeah.
So, but for me, if you're looking at the history of barbecues and cookouts, and also just that need for acceptance. So why do you need them to validate you? Yeah. So they get it. That's fine. You had many that fought next to us for different things, but stop. That's true. One thing that may be stupid as shit is what you're saying, and it's like, calm down.
Yeah,
I think it'll start fixing or being better once we start seeing more representation of black people doing just normal things. I mean, if you think about it, like you don't accept yourself if you think that the people around you are better,
right?
And that's what you're being
true.
fed.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is that when you see black people being represented on the media, on the news and stuff like that, even with TV shows, there's a certain character or trope, and we talk about this on Intermission all the time, that you're either the athlete, the hip hop artist, the thug, the drug dealer. You don't just see, like we had with the Cosby Show before.
That's true.
All that shit went through, where it's just a middle class black family that's just go through regular shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Blackish took off so hard.
Absolutely.
You're
because
seeing normal things. And
normal.
it's
like, this is life.
Yeah.
This is actual life.
That's why I can't watch some of the reality shows. I refuse to watch some of the ridiculous things that happen and what we pull to. Like, that's not all that we are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think everyone knows that. That's not all that we are.
So I have to ask a question, because this came up on your last show, where someone said, hey, everybody that I see that's black on television is always, like you were saying, like a thug or an athlete or something like that. So when I'm asking if that's a dated expression, because everybody I see on television that's black is typically a detective.
Think about one of the most
police
movies
detective
that just came out, Superfly. Think of all the black movies that you've seen, like, and take for instance, like,
you're saying the big portion,
the big portion, the majority of it.
Well, of course, yeah. No one can disagree with that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I think that as we see more more black media permeating through mainstream media, then it won't be such a conversation topic, because now it's like, no, there's a TV show where there's black families.
Yeah,
but we also, as people of color, have to also push and want those things.
That's true too.
So many of, and it may be a small few, we glorify the nonsense. I mean, you have something positive,
It definitely is like both parties.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was about to say, glorifying nonsense goes across all colors.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's different though when you're a majority and you have something to balance that out with. So like there was this whole thing going on with like take Dave Chappelle for instance, when he was talking about having to wear a dress and emasculate himself and how he didn't want to do that. And if you watch the interviews, the whole thing was that there's not enough representation of strong black men on TV.
That's true.
To where this doesn't have a detriment. Whereas if it was like, hundreds of other black strong male characters, one person wearing a dress wouldn't be that big of a deal, because it's not the only example of a successful black actor on TV.
We don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but there's a theory that in Hollywood, once you become a big enough actor, they're going to put you in. They're going to cross-dress you.
I can agree with that.
I can agree with that. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it seems like they're, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole either, but emasculating men that become to this certain level. Let's get them in a dress. And that's a theory.
But they have to agree to. If you're not going to agree to, they're not going to do it.
But when you start having millions thrown at you, then it gets kind of hard to.
You start thinking about, do I want this money?
You don't want to be difficult to work with.
Yeah. Do I want to be labeled as difficult? Which, at the end of the day, if you are labeled as difficult, is it better to stand your ground, and say, I'd rather be difficult than to compromise?
But then you think about like how loaded that is, and for the generations that are coming behind you, where it's like
right, exactly,
and how hard it is to put that as your platform. That's one of the things. Like, take Monique for instance. I don't necessarily agree with everything that she's been talking about for the most part. And I mean, there's countless videos of me talking about how I think that this whole thing was flawed from the beginning. But the biggest thing is that she at least is speaking out against something that she feels like is an injustice.
That's
and I
true.
think that means so much more to like younger generations to say, hey, you don't have to put up with shit if you don't want to. Like, I mean, for me, for instance, I'm a terrible employee.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. You know,
I don't know.
Horrible employee. Horrible.
I had to fire him so many times.
Yeah, right. But part of it was because I knew that things that were being done. I was like, this isn't right for
Right,
people.
exactly.
I'm having to go in here and spit these lies out. to you.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel
I'm
you.
not going to work for you guys anymore.
However,
Yeah.
we do have a light at the end of the tunnel on this. You know, the showbiz industry used to be this thing where you would, okay, we're crowning you an actress, we're crowning you an actor. Now with YouTube coming out, you can
true.
bypass all that
You
stuff
can
and you
bypass
just
a
let
lot
the
of
viewers
stuff.
decide,
Yeah.
and you don't get to be blackballed. So I think that in our lifetime, we're going to see people not being able to be blackballed just because they give their opinion on something.
And because there's
But-
there's other outlet to it.
That same token, though, look what everybody's getting famous for on these outlets.
That's true.
Some bullshit.
It's all the BS. All the hey, let's get clout really fast. So let me lick some ice cream
You
and
know,
put it
How
back
about
in.
that couple that shot a 50 caliber rifle, and one of them got the boyfriend got killed.
Are
because
you
they were trying
serious?
To stop it with a book. Yeah, I put it on YouTube.
That's so stupid.
And
Are you
the girlfriend's in jail now for involuntary manslaughter.
And that's so dumb.
But that does seem like something short-lived. I mean, you're not going to have a YouTube channel for 4 years doing that.
That's
for
true.
Sure.
But the thing with
That's
social media
true.
and the way people use social media, and we'll roll into like our president, his social media,
Oh.
and what he
needs
does.
to be taken away from him.
So-
I don't know why
And-
no one. Oh my
And just-
god!
Let's discuss Trump and his social media and how he is and what's going on in 2020 happening.
Those pictures
I brought some talking points.
Oh, that's what I'm talking
like you.
about.
Are you
I
serious?
wanted to be a good guest.
Oh my
Hell yeah.
You.
Look at
You
good
pick good
guess.
guess.
I got you.
I'm talking like a pimp. I mean, I know what I'm
From the
doing.
hip.
I didn't even get
Right.
on your level. 'cause
I'm
you
just
see me,
saying,
I'm
you
just
already. I want to be like you when I grow up.
like, "Stop, please."
I want to be like you when I grow up. So
Can I
discussing.
get 10% of this effort on my show?
I gave y'all
Wait,
100%
we
at
don't
the
have to do
beginning.
that. We don't have to do that.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
I'm just saying, anytime you want me to be on your show too.
Yeah, you can come through.
Calm
You
down.
can come through.
Y'all don't know
Come
how
on
to
through.
appreciate me.
Because I start
Aw,
late. I
look-
started
look
like
where I
late.
am
I started
on a
late.
Tuesday.
Anyway, so President Trump and his tweeting and how he's become.
You know what?
Go ahead.
When did
Wesley.
this? When did this jump the shark? I mean, what, week 2? I mean, during when he was trying to get elected. I mean, this has been out of the barn for so long. I mean, it's become noise now, right? Like
That's
it's
the
kind of
way
like
I
I've
feel.
checked out.
Yeah.
I'm not even surprised at anything that he does or says. And
I'm not.
I'm surprised that people still get surprised by some stuff. That's
there's a
I
book.
think that-
They made a book about all his tweets. It's in my library. There's a book of all his tweets that he did. I want to say during when he was running through the first year.
Oh my gosh! And you would think somebody would be like,
Yeah.
you know, like all the other presidents. Hey, let's not do social
And you know, this is the
media,
thing, though. This
like
is the
from your
thing.
personal.
I-
But no, let's keep this train wreck going. Like that's
His
really what
last comment and tweet about the
they need to
go
back
back where it came from.
The United States. What are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about?
I do have something, Erlene, to contribute on this. So,
Excited.
so here's the thing, and this is, you know, sometimes because a lot of times what I observe, and I think we're all in agreement, like this is all ridiculousness, but sometimes instead of eating candy, because when it comes to Trump, we all just want to sit around and complain. And I brought this quote. This is by Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
I love
And
Ricky
so
Gervais.
it's time sometimes we got to eat our vegetables and roll our eyes and go, man, this makes the world a better place. And Ricky Gervais says, if you don't believe in free speech for people who you hate, fear, and disagree with, then you don't believe in free speech. And he's right. And I know, Janae, I have the same reaction. It's like, oh, we got to deal with this dude till he's out of
This is-
office.
this is my
But this is
thing.
what free speech is,
This is my-
unfortunately, but also fortunately, right?
This is my thing, and this is how I feel about many topics, even when it comes to the curry chick. When you're a certain person, a certain part of life, and doing certain things.
Are you talking about Steph Curry's wife?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
we're
man.
not gonna
Oh,
do it.
man.
We're
We're not
not
gonna
gonna
do that right now. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do
That's
it.
15 rabbit
We're
hole.
not gonna do it.
No.
It's in
We're
line with
not
some of
gonna
these
do
topics
it.
on
We're
the
You know what?
list.
We're not gonna do it
it
because they tried to. They were ready for me last time. My thing is this. Yes, but when you're in a position of power, you have to be really mindful of what you say and how you say things. Unfortunately, that's just the way it
But
is.
his
but
job
that
right
means,
now,
but
though,
it,
right?
Yeah.
it's like
That's
a
the big
certain
thing.
level of maturity that you should
Because
have when you're in
people-
leadership, and apparently he is showing.
Interpretation is this, and let's just say he didn't mean anything really as it seems. But you have folks who just run with it, and there are people getting harmed, and things are happening behind his, and they're doing it in the sense of
this
him.
allegiance to him.
You know, you didn't have this happening.
Not to, you know,
I don't
what America
in my
stands
lifetime,
for,
I haven't had this happen with any of the Bushes or anything like that. You know, and he just thinks it's okay to not be held accountable for your words. You want to hold everyone else accountable for some stuff. You've done some fucked up shit, grabbing shit and doing shit. Nothing's happening to you.
Not only holding people accountable, but just openly. When's the last time we saw a president ever just like openly just get mad at people?
Never.
And start tweeting and talking shit about them.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's refreshing. It's refreshing to be able to.
Oh, it's not refreshing to me. It's scary to me.
What I'm saying though, like when Bush left office, he was like, I don't want to do. Don't talk to me about it. I want to go paint and do charity work.
Exactly.
And he's like, leave me alone. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I understand, but when you take that particular position, you already know and understand that there's some things you are not going to be able to openly and freely do. Now, granted, we know who he is, so we know who we're dealing with, and I have to say, well, I know who the fuck he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, because what you're saying is hurting other people.
Exactly.
But you also got to think about the subset of people that voted for him. This is what they were saying that they wanted, was someone who is not going to be fearful of saying what they want and how they want to and all this. And I think that part of the place is that I don't think he really thought he was going to win. And I think
I don't either.
He's still kind of stunned that he's actually here.
I really think so. Yeah, I think so too. I think he can't grasp the whole like magnitude of his position. Like, I think
I'm on TV. That's all I know.
I think the biggest chunk of people who voted for him are people who do not like him, but like the fact that now he's in office, it makes it easier for them to do their business. The people who have money.
That is true.
Like, fuck that other shit.
But
because
I
can borrow money with no problems now. I can do these things. They're the ones who are like, I'm benefiting off of this stuff.
But the wild part is that, and Chris Rock pointed this out, and it actually made me go and do a little bit of digging when he was, might have been Dave Chappelle actually, saying that he's not here for the majority of people that voted for him. He's here for rich people.
Yeah,
and if
that's
you go
true.
look at like states that have really, really high rates of illiteracy, high poverty, high rates of welfare states.
Yes.
They also voted for him.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I think it, to me, it makes it like reminiscent of when there was this whole identity shift of what being white was. And the white identity where you have Irish people who are now being classified as white. It's like, hey, listen, you're poor, but you're not blacks. You're not.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think the same thing is happening here. Is that because if you like do some research into like people with welfare and all this stuff, white people on welfare tend to think that there's a lot of black people on welfare.
That is true.
And a lot of Hispanics on welfare.
Yeah, that's true.
60% of people on welfare are white.
That's true.
So are you actually white? I thought you were Hispanic.
No.
Man. Just
pointing you out.
No, I tell people I went on. True story. I went on Ancestry.com and I was hoping.
I don't even want to talk about that. That's a sore spot for me.
Oh man, I went on Ancestry.com and it's because my father told me I was a descendant of the famous pinup model Betty Page, because my last name is Page.
Yeah.
Dope.
By the way, it's not true.
the lies I
Dang, Daddy.
The lies my family told me. But literally going back to every single male in my lineage, 100% English. So I always joke, if there's ever a survey and they're like, hey, what race are you? Caucasian, black, Hispanic? I was like, there should have one for me that's like, no, but like extra Caucasian.
like I'm for real.
So you're like literally English all the way back. But going back to what y'all were saying, I think oftentimes because we get so fixated with Trump, we forget the major fumble at the goal line that the Democratic Party had. I don't think that they'll try to fix a Democratic primary this go round like they tried to fix against Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
I've actually read a lot about that, and I don't know how much you guys know about this, but Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party was in a lot of debt, and Hillary Clinton came in with the Clinton Foundation and then saved them from a lot of this debt.
Right.
But she was like, I'm only going to give you part of the money, and I'll give you guys the rest of it when I become the Democratic candidate. And then, of course, we all know from the past, Bernie Sanders, and that was a guy that I really liked. Bernie Sanders was the guy that they really liked. So the Democratic, the DNC had a real problem. They're like, well, we can't get the rest of this money unless we get Hillary in.
Right.
So we got to pigeonhole her in. And it made a lot of people that wanted to vote Democrat very angry. And so Donald Trump kind of became the punk rock vote, where it's like we're the anti-Hillary vote, even though we would normally date Democratic. And we remember how close that election was. I mean, she still won the popular vote.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but
people don't like her either.
They don't like her.
They don't. And I get it, but
I don't.
But that's what you do. I mean, I guess in my mind, I don't understand it. I don't. And I know teachers who voted for him. Dude, we are not rich as teachers. I'm sorry.
I have family.
And we are not rich as teachers. We do not, like, he is not trying to service us in public education. If it was up to him, there would be no public education.
Honestly, like you said, I don't think he thought he was going to win.
No,
I think he did it just to...
And the amount of people who were like, well, because I don't like Hillary, at some point, I get it. But get your feelings.
A huge problem.
Like, get your feelings out of it.
Yeah.
Like, forget your feelings.
But
feelings don't matter.
But to be
More
fair to
options.
Hillary, nobody could have raised the amount of money she raised using the Clinton Foundation to get the DNC out of debt. So I understand the conundrum everyone was in.
I get it,
but unfortunately, the guy everybody wanted was Bernie Sanders.
I get
and
that.
they were mad they didn't get him.
You hear what I'm saying?
But
I
if we
get it.
had more, instead of just this two-party system where it's always just Republican or Democrat.
Oh
and
boy,
then
this is a
people-
great
yeah.
topic.
And where you didn't feel like it was the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look
Always,
at, like,
right?
And if you look at England, take England for instance.
Okay.
They've got, and I've looked at like their house, their upper house. They've got 20 different parties that are sectioned
Yeah.
off.
Is it really
Yeah.
20?
Yes,
I
20
knew it was
something.
more than
Crazy.
7.
Yeah.
It's like 20.
It's crazy. And they all have representation. They all have, now obviously some have more power than others.
True.
But it's enough to where you actually have to talk to a group of people
About
and get in line if
decisions,
you want their votes.
Yeah.
Whereas here, and I talk about this when we're in these like offline conversations, I think black people give their vote away too easily. And
Absolutely.
we're always identified with Democrats. Like I tell people all the time, I'm more moderate than anything.
That's what-
There's a lot of things that are
Right,
conservative
yeah.
that I'm totally in
Yeah,
line with. Like I'm a gun owner. I love guns.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also,
Yeah, we live in Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fiscal
I mean,
responsibility
let's
though
be-
as well.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Democrats never really speak too much to how we're going to set the budget
That's
for
true.
the country.
And many
That's-
still
we
hold on to
never
the
did
whole
that.
history that we were Republicans first. Leave that alone. That's back in the day.
That's
Stop.
bullshit. I don't care about that.
No one
I mean,
cares
Do
about
not
that.
care about
No one
that
cares.
because the whole thing.
The sad thing is we
don't
rely
care if I
on
voted
other
Democrat
people
last
to tell us
month.
what to
Right?
do. We rely other people to tell us where we should vote, and very few people, I don't care what color you are, do their own research
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
dig deep into what are your plights,
That's true.
or
How will this candidate?
and also
help
very
you
few
out?
people. I think
Yeah.
people. There's a lot of folks who are fake outrage. On the outside, they make you think they care about these things, and
Yeah,
deep down, they
really
don't give a shit.
They do
They
not
didn't
care.
think about it past that 5-minute conversation.
Absolutely.
All right.
So when
After
they
it wasn't
vote-
a hot
That is
topic or
that is a very good point.
headline
No matter
or
how they
something.
don't
like,
care.
After that, it's just like, well, moving on. Like it's like
They're
it never
great at
happened.
complaining
What's the
about the
next thing we
issue.
can
Yeah,
complain
what's the
about
Complaining
on
what's
social
going
media?
on, but they're never the ones out there giving you a solution or trying their best to do something. They're complaining all the time about
all
it.
the time about stuff.
That's why it's
Now,
hard for me
Arlene,
to
are you
respect.
talking about the voters or the candidates? Well, 'cause
Let's just
that's
say,
a good point,
let's just
right?
say
can we
both.
say
Because
everybody?
Everyone.
I think
Yeah,
it's
because I don't think the
everybody.
candidates are as passionate about
They don't
these.
give a shit.
Because
these
they're just
election
trying to get
issues.
the
If
vote.
the candidates who actually
Yeah.
really care, like just look at someone like these candidates who are like super Christian and all this stuff and
No,
yada
let's
yada,
not-
and
let's
then
not
you
talk
find
about
about
being
them
super
in their
Christian.
personal lives,
Yeah.
and they're completely different.
Yeah.
They just want their power.
Yeah,
That's all they
that's
care
it.
about.
and they're
Let's be
going
real.
to say what they have
The
to
voters?
say
to get the votes
to
that
get
they
the votes.
need.
And right now, they're
Not
going to
even mad at
ride
that,
on
though.
the whole let's eliminate student loan debt.
Hey,
shit.
UT actually,
Hey,
though,
hey,
they're
let-
helping with that.
Get rid
But
of
I mean, the
mine.
thing is,
20, but
everyone's
Get
riding on that, or they're
rid
riding
of my
on
debt.
more women here, this and that. They're riding on how can I touch a nerve,
How can I capitalize?
and get
Buzzwords.
you.
Yeah.
and then once they
On a
get
pain
in, they're not going
point.
to do anything.
That's true.
Now,
you know.
we would be 100% right about this until what started happening in Alabama and Georgia.
Oh, with the
them
abortion.
banning abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
God.
Whole different
I feel like we're 100% right, and then that snuck up on us. We're
That
like,
did.
because I didn't think they were going to pass any major abortion laws, and then all of a sudden, overnight, I don't
But
know
think
how this
about
went
think
down.
about how the Supreme Court went. Now it's more conservative. So
Mm-hmm.
you know if you're looking at it and you're trying to pass a conservative piece of legislation, and you're thinking, well, look, the Supreme Court will have my back. So let's go for it.
See, but I think the bigger problem is that most
Mm-hmm.
people that vote don't even think about how they're voting. Like, they was like, all right, I'm going to vote for the president, but you're not looking at what happens after that.
Truth.
Or who their constituents are. Like, what's going to happen if I put this conservative
and many
or
only
this
vote
here?
on the higher office. They're not voting where it really,
and that's
really
Texas is
can.
getting rid of the straight ticket.
Arlene, that is such a good point.
That
like
is,
no one,
yeah.
No
like
one's
you
doing
could
that.
affect your immediate environment so much better if you voted in local elections
That's
versus
true.
the president.
Yeah.
Which is so far away.
That's why you have so many
That is
people
such a good
now
point.
who are running for stuff in Houston that well-known artists,
Right?
Who are running for seats. I'm like, oh, that's
yeah.
good. Do it.
Look,
Do
I'm
your
making
thing.
Sounds, yeah.
People who
know.
are actually involved in their community.
Yeah,
Who are
to do
doing
something
things.
different.
Who
and
are doing things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We all complain. Many of us complain about everything going on, but what are you actually doing?
Right.
I'd rather move in silence. I don't have to let the world know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do what I have to do to make
But I
sure
know I'm doing something.
I'm doing something,
Yeah.
you know.
I've got to get on Twitter and virtue signal. That's what I've got to do.
So, since we're talking about the president and his white privilege self, what about white privilege? Why are people so hard to understand what that is and what it looks like?
I have like, there's two annoying things about white privilege, in my opinion. So one of the annoying,
Only two?
Two major ones. I mean, there's many annoying things about this. But so you have on one side of the fence, you have the white person that just believes we're all equal and we're just running through life and no one has any advantages and no one gets messed with in a convenience store and no one gets treated differently by cops. And they really believe it. I mean, you can look in their eyes and tell they really, really believe it. And you're like, come on, man. Like, you were born on second and, and somebody hit a double and you think, you know, you got home all by yourself. It's like, but then the other side of the fence is this white person like Anne Hathaway who's virtue signaling.
Oh my god!
And she's like, no, listen to me. I know how black people are.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know what black people are going through. And I'm here to tell you on this podcast. The viewers here, Anne Hathaway does not know the life black people live, but I do. So
you do,
Wesley.
you
This is what happens
Take
when
out
you
your
invite
pens.
too many white people
Go
to
to
the
the
cookout.
show.
I'm about
When
to
you
tell
have,
you.
no, when you have
how
them to the
black
cookout.
people
Yeah,
live.
see, he got invited to the cookout.
He got
Yeah.
invited to the cookout.
He can
Yeah.
get expert and shit. But thanks, Anthony. Thanks for that.
But seriously, that would sound so silly. I'm like, hey, Anne Hathaway doesn't know, but I know. Listen to what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
It's very silly.
Yeah.
And so I don't know which is more annoying, the person that doesn't realize white privilege exists or the person that is, they want to be a hero for black people and be a leader in
The
black
white
community.
saviors.
The white saviors. And then when they actually like get in, because
They
they
never
can be the white saviors, but they never really, do anything for the community. They just feel like somebody has to say something. No, just chill. That's the same thing about the cookout. Just
I'd rather
chill.
them educate, and it's not invest in them, but I'd rather they educate other white people and leave us alone. If that makes any sense. And
I get what you're
right.
saying. I get it. I get it.
But what's sad is
No, actually, that does sound right. Actually,
but I feel
It
bad
does
for people
sound right.
who
go to
somebody
who's not black,
like
or
our
who
friend
is not a
Jennifer, who explained
minority.
it to her parents.
Yeah.
Like, she's not gonna come to us to talk about white privilege, but she
she's
said,
not.
let me explain to y'all what it is. And they're like, oh, because us. And I also feel bad in a way because I feel there's a lot of people who want to ask and generally do not understand.
Yeah.
But we're like, what you want to ask me?
That's because open dialogue is so.
What the fuck you want to talk about?
Because we're so angry.
You know, what the fuck you want to talk
Well,
about?
I need to say that, like, right now, as a whole, not even just black people, but people in general, you can't have an opinion that seems slightly controversial or can't admit to ignorance without somebody being like, oh, you don't know this? Why don't you know this? You should understand this shit. And being dogged out.
Or,
I think
or being pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you're, and, pick one of the labels they put on. You're an Islamophobe. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're, whatever. You don't want to steer into that lane. So to your point, no one's saying anything anymore. We just got a virtue signal.
Or
am I
asking,
clear? Okay,
yeah.
cool. I made it to base. I'm a good person.
And it's the thing, though, we have to have our open conversation. To have the open dialogue, you have to understand they may not say things the right way. Don't be offended. They're asking the question. Just like when men and women have to try to have a conversation.
Right. You
and
just
we're
have
like,
to set your
set your feelings aside. And realize that they may not say it right, but they're really asking because they want clarification.
They want to know.
But I really think if you understand, go educate your people. and don't try to educate me.
Yeah, don't tell me what I should be doing, because
and don't take it upon yourself to go educate all the other white people
on
social media and Hathaway.
Just do one.
I think the biggest thing, though, my issue with white privilege is that, and this kind of touches on a few other topics on here, is that there seems to be this thing right now with a subset of people who are like white males, and I keep seeing this thing being like called white male fragility being passed around, and I kind of.
Wait, I'm not familiar with this. What is this?
So basically, there's like this group of people who, like, of white males who feel like they're being attacked constantly for being white, and they have to. And I saw this. That's actually somebody I know. At the day after Juneteenth, which is celebrating the fact that Texas and all the slaves were freed here in Texas, and the soldiers landed here in Galveston and came here and was like, "Hey, listen, you guys are free." Like,
2 years later,
run away.
The next day. This guy who I always have these conversations with and arguments with says that I'm proud to be a white American male and yada, yada, yada. Literally an hour like after Juneteenth. And I'm just like, you realize that what you're doing is the exact reason why we have to have these kinds of conversations, because you think that because we're celebrating the fact that a historical event that set black people free is an attack on you for being a white male American, when it's not. These two things, they're not mutually exclusive.
Nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Nothing to do with you.
Yeah, but there is a unique perspective here, and so you have someone of clear skin being on. There is a thing where white men are getting attacked online because it's just not popular to like white men. But it's you can't virtue signal by saying white guys number one. Like that's not a good virtue signal. So white men typically they're typically a good target to attack, right? It makes yourself look good, makes you look like you're woke. But the thing about it is what y'all don't realize is it's not usually black people that are doing it. It's usually white women
attacking white men.
Like, you see how woke I am? Black America, fuck
I
white
get it.
dudes.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
I get exactly what you're saying.
So that's where it gets confusing. It's like these guys that are like, man, I never did anything wrong. I want people to like me.
And you're getting attacked by white women.
Not us.
By white women.
I don't care.
That's what I would say. I'm not observing that it's a black community that's doing it to white guys.
Yeah, we don't give a shit.
But even if it was though, or you feel like that, this goes back to the whole thing of asking the question instead of trying to be inflammatory by saying, "Hey, I'm proud to be white in America," after a holiday that's not even recognized nationally.
We all agree.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, and you see this a lot with things. Like, I mean, take for instance, Jada just pointed this out here actually right now, but the whole gay pride parade, and then people feeling they have to go have a straight pride parade. Straight people were never oppressed in America. Why do you why do you have to?
So why do you have to have a straight pride? Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not even going to say that I'm some kind of social justice warrior, because I don't. At the same time, I don't really care what you say, but it's like that part of thing. I just kind of look at it. It's like you went out of your way to say something like that with something that does not affect you at all.
Right.
Or the people.
Wait, y'all don't believe that the straight people are under attack? Come on.
But there was
someone. A gay agenda.
There was someone that said on the
gay agenda that.
There was someone who said about Gay Pride Month, right?
Yeah.
And it falls into the same thing of the fake care and fake outrage.
Yeah.
There was this one guy who said those same people who come out there and prance around with us, get in their car, take everything off, and do not want anyone to know that you were supporting. So leave us alone. You're making your money off of us. All these things. Let us have our moment. Yeah. If you're gonna be fake about it somewhere else.
Yeah, don't do it with us.
I understand, but you're not really there. And the ones who have been there for us, who fought the fight, who have been beat down, like Bernie Sanders and stuff people like that, they're not looking for anything extra. Yeah. But my thing is,
they're not doing anything extra. Yeah.
Go educate your own people. Leave us alone. Chill. We ain't got time for that. So, moving into that, toxic personalities when it comes to race relations, and what are you smiling about?
I'm just laughing. I saw that one. I was like, that is a heavy.
It is.
Yeah,
so it really, because it's so.
Yeah, because with everything we're talking about, it leads into some toxic personality, toxic behavior, toxic conversation, just toxic shit all the way around.
I have so much to say.
So let's do this first, because I know they're chomping at the bit. They're chomping at the bit.
They're getting closer to the one that we want to
discuss. Yeah, they are.
This one right here. You know which one they want to get to.
So let's discuss. Let's discuss the fucked up thing of this USFA, toxic females.
My God.
I am not educated on this topic. Toxic females?
Can I throw
Could you give me
Well,
no.
Your sarcasm is real right now.
Right.
No, I'm
Are you really
Yeah,
don't know?
toxic females. Like, what is the example of like what
You
the
just brought one up. You just brought one up. How
White
you
women are
said
attacking
white
white
women
men.
attack white men, and because they're trying to say that white men are the problem.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, as I get older and I get more patient, I realize that people just want to show the virtue signaling. They just
I love this word. I need to use.
I'm gonna start
word.
using it.
Like they're
this
virtue
is
signaling.
the internet right now.
Love it.
People, though they are not coming from a place where they thought 2 or 3 steps down the road, I really think where their heart is at is they're trying to just say, I'd like to put up a sign that says I'm nice and I'm accepting of everyone, and then it just falls off the cliff from there. But that's where it starts. It's
You
just
think?
like, yeah, I really do. And people want to be heard, and the internet's very loud, and they want to shoot up their
Especially
little
when you're being
firework
put in
for a
your own echo
second.
chamber.
But I really believe
That's
and
another one.
And I don't mind telling people politically, I'm very liberal, but that's also why I get most frustrated with liberals, because I don't want people making me look stupid. And the people on the far wacko left, they frustrate the hell out of me with their safe spaces and their it's just terrible. But I do think that they're all coming from the same place of, I want to prove that I'm really nice. I want to be inviting. I want to be understanding. So as I get older, I'm trying to get more patient with these people, even though it goes wacko from there.
Let me ask you a question, because you said something that I'm kind of the person, like, I don't feel like you should go out of your way to do anything unless you just want to. And you said something multiple times, and that's these people want to prove that they're this way.
That's a good point.
And that's the thing that I feel like where the intent gets lost, is that instead of listening or instead of just being that, these people keep getting hung up on the fact that I have to prove this to you and I have to prove this. When all you have to do is just, when you in a moment of being a bigot
I can go
or
to the
of being
cookout.
insensitive, you just don't do it.
Well, we were talking about toxic females specifically just then.
We'll
So
get toxic male too, so
But
don't get excited.
those are fun too.
But I will, and I can't believe I'm defending these wackos, but I will defend them briefly, and I'll say I think sometimes they're trying to prove, because especially on Twitter, they've got a limited space to show you who they are. And even though they use that limited space 30 times a day, they just want to know, this is who I am as a person. I believe in women's rights, or I believe in abortion rights, or I believe in, sometimes, and I think I don't know, I feel like I'm sitting here with, 3 other like-minded people. Sometimes for intelligent folks like us, we're like, yeah, duh. We don't want women to get paid less for the same job.
Exactly.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah,
We don't think
duh.
abortion rights should be taken away. So sometimes these people just tend to get annoying. But you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to say, hey, I want to be nice.
I want to
really
be
do.
nice, guys. I'm for
What about you, Howard?
everybody.
Toxic females.
Well, I mean, it's a broad question, so I guess what specifically are you trying to ask?
Yeah, I think that's where things could get
Like,
really
specifically,
interesting.
Like, what do you mean? Because
I'm just waiting for the specifics, and then I'm gonna chime in. Here
So
in a second.
toxic females, the ones that are quick to anger, will not allow you to explain yourself, are just there to be listening defensively. So you're listening, ask a question. Oh, you're beautiful.
This is
What
a
do you
lot
mean? And it's just
This is a lot
everything
more
about
specific.
them is
Okay.
toxic.
so I think that's
In their words and
you
their
can't
actions.
have that conversation in a vacuum. I don't think anyone is born toxic. I think it's like a learned behavior, and I think that you have to talk about toxic masculinity at the same time you have that question.
Sure, well, let's do that then.
Yes, let's
So
do that too.
I'm one of these people where traditional man. I think that it's okay to have gender roles if that's what you want, but I also think that if that's not what you want, then you
You
should
can
have
be
to have it
single
on
and
you.
lonely.
You can be single and lonely. You can be
Wait,
polyamorous.
wait.
You can
Wait,
be a
wait,
stay-at-home
what?
dad.
Wait. Something just happened.
Wait
Something
a
just happened.
second.
Something just happened.
First of all, because you're single doesn't mean that you're
wait,
lonely.
Just because you're
That-
single and
Janae,
lonely doesn't
that
mean
is
that you
actually-
can't be
that's
single
actually
and
a good
happy.
point.
That's just a
Let's
whole
talk
other group
about
of people.
this.
Hold on.
Let's
Yeah.
talk
You just
about
something
this.
just happened.
What happened?
You
about
just said
this.
something.
What?
You said you're a traditional male, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you believe in gender roles. And if you don't want them,
then you don't have to have them. But don't condemn me and whoever I'm with. If she believes in gender roles, my significant other wants to have gender roles, and I believe them, and that's good for our relationship, then it's nobody else's business except ours.
Okay.
And
okay,
so my thing is that with the toxic, especially with a lot of extreme left feminazis that she actually put on there.
Yes,
it's one of those things.
That was his buzzword, not mine.
No, that's actually from.
That's his girlfriend,
that's
Jada.
His girlfriend.
Yeah, she said that.
It's one of those things I never understood where you want women to be able to have the same space to express themselves however they want to, but then tell a woman that if you fall in line with this idea of what a traditional woman is, then you're allowing yourself to be oppressed instead of the fact that I'm an adult who chose that this is what I feel like I want to represent and express myself as. And that's where I think the toxic behavior comes in, where it's you're actually contradicting yourself when you say, hey, do this and do that, and you're able to do this and do that, but I'm going to judge you for doing what you decide that you want to choose.
This is actually the most passionate topic I have in life. Is
we know that.
We know.
Well, no. It's not but it's very much outside of how we typically discuss it on the internet. And specifically what I'm trying to talk about is where our intellect collides with our instincts. We've all seen that pet dog in the neighborhood and we don't know why, but when you throw a stick, it wants to fetch it and bring it back. No one ever taught it to do it. You know, no one ever teaches a deer to walk. You know, there's instincts in mammals that are undeniable. I mean, we can all agree on that. But unlike other mammals, we've got this incredible intellect. And so we're always trying to outsmart it. You know, the way a man's body works is I could put my spawn in 365 women this year. But if I'm in a relationship, especially if I'm in a relationship and we have a baby on the way, or if I have a relationship with someone and I love this person, I've got to outrun that instinct. I've got to say, no, we live in a society now. This is only going to work in this tribe if I'm monogamous with this person. And specifically, human behavioralists are now learning that monogamy is actually a lot older than we thought it was originally, looking at human behavior.
Yes, it is.
And it's and Janae's agreeing with me. It's because
he wants to put that out there
for right now.
Yeah, for right now.
For right now.
Let's mark that timestamp.
No, I was only putting that because I saw that light bulb. Yeah. And it's because human offspring are so delicate.
Yes.
That you have to choose a monogamous male because you guys have got to. I mean, think about
you have to take care of it together.
Yes.
You need it together because if you have both, the offspring comes out. Well, sometimes. Let me not say all the time. But, you know, it's studies show it comes out a little bit. Sometimes. Not all the time.
Yeah. And these are instincts that we have. I mean, women, you know, Anthony and I are about to start a podcast, and we're going to talk a lot about this. But, like, if you had an athlete that all of a sudden quit hitting a baseball, Jose Altuve for the Astros, he just can't hit a baseball for the rest of his life. We would never say, if the Astros cut him, we would never say, man, the Astros aren't loyal. All they wanted Altuve for was his hitting. No, we would never say that, which is why when a woman leaves a man because he's not doing what needs to be done for the offspring, she leaves. She doesn't feel safe. She doesn't feel protected. And this is what, going back to your point, this is where traditional roles come in and where our instincts and our intellect collide. And something I'm really, really passionate about, because on the feminist side, they're trying to completely intellectually outsmart all of this.
We got the feminism. You saw that?
It just rolled right
He just rolled on into it.
Well, no. I didn't mean to do that. But here's the thing. I'm very, very passionate about women's rights in different parts of the world where I think the feminists, you know, should have their, you know, their major battles. So I'm very passionate for women's rights. I'm about to have a daughter. I'm very passionate about women's rights, but I'm very unpassionate about people just getting online and just trying to be viewed a certain way. There are parts of the world right now where women don't have rights, where they're being forced to dress a certain way by law, not by choice of religion. There are parts of the world where women, in 2019, where women for infidelity are being stoned to death.
Yes.
These are major, major things.
Well, and you got to think about it here in the United States. If you are a certain color of woman, your rights aren't seen. Like feminists feminism is not for everybody.
It's not.
It's not for, I'm going to say it, it's not for minority women. I'm going to put it out there, because the way our bodies, the way our bodies are policed, when I see young African American women or students, my students, their bodies are policed differently than white girls. And it is.
I don't understand.
You don't understand?
No.
Okay, so you could have two people, right?
Yeah.
2 girls, same outfits, right?
Oh, I
2
see.
girls, same outfits. This one, and I'm going to use the empty bottle for a reason. This one has on this outfit, she doesn't get in trouble. This one,
she's gonna get in all kind of trouble.
she's gonna get in all kind of different trouble.
We're talking about in the school system.
Yeah, and
just
overall.
Just the other day, a doctor was on the boarding a plane, leaving vacation. Everyone's on the plane in tropical gear.
She had on
shorts and a shirt.
Romper.
My wife told me about
She
this.
had on a romper,
She said
and
that
she had to
didn't
leave.
look that bad. I didn't
You
see
didn't hear about
it.
this?
It was not bad. It's something that you would wear on vacation.
And they wanted her to cover up her body.
They made her leave the plane and put a blanket around her body.
Well, let's talk about this just like for adults. Was it because I didn't see
It was
not
I'm
inappropriate.
asking because I didn't see the photo. Was she just like amazingly beautiful or something, or real curvy?
She was a
or-
black doctor with a shape. Banging.
So it was
shape.
it was some woman that was hating.
But what I'm
This
saying
right here.
right?
But I'm
You
saying
see
This
though
is what
is-
she's getting at. Is
You
that
seeing? So our bodies
way
are
the body
policed
develops.
Yeah,
differently.
it does.
Our attitudes are the way we are raised are policed differently. Black girls are seen as more mature at younger ages than white girls are. That is shown. Studies have shown that. So black girls are considered sexualized
Much
earlier
earlier.
than white girls. But studies have shown that.
I'm
so
totally agree with
feminine.
this.
So this
By-
is
Oh,
what
there
I'm
you go.
telling
So right
you.
there, there's the clip.
There
So
it
that's
is
what she
right
had
there.
on going on the
That's
plane.
what she had on.
And they want her to
That
cover
is
up.
not-
I've actually been on a
nothing wrong
plane
with
where I've seen women in like.
So he
bikinis
wouldn't let
and
her
stuff,
on the
no
plane.
romper.
They wanted her to cover
kicked her
up.
off the
That's
plane
crazy.
to wrap a blanket off of her,
That's
and then
crazy.
she was able to get back on the
Now
plane.
let's discuss what we see in some short shorts walking
That is
around.
fucking crazy.
Now,
Oh my
I've
God.
seen some shorts that have gotten on planes. I've seen some shorts that are just walking down the street. I've seen some shorts.
They want her to cover up.
and they wanted her to cover up.
So we are treated differently.
Okay, that's a very broad statement.
What's broad?
I'm just asking. Could this have just been some ugly woman who's overweight?
And
who's
if it
jealous?
is, it has happened to almost
But
every
it
black
was
woman that I
American
have known
Airlines
in their
that did
life.
it.
Yeah.
So why would you? Because why would you risk your job?
I'm not saying it's not happening.
No, but
I'm
why
just
would you risk your
asking.
job
Yeah.
and everyone have to apologize because
Yeah.
of your hate? Don't do that.
Don't do it.
We have seen
Well,
people
it's just
with
like
less.
the natural hair too.
That
The
too.
natural hair
That's
thing.
police.
Yes,
That's
I
like
can't wear my
California,
hair in its natural state.
You
Like
know,
California had to pass a law to allow natural hair to be deemed like professional.
It's
So
crazy.
why does
Really
why
crazy
does a
to me.
law have to be passed? Because of the
our
way my hair
attitudes are policed
natu-
differently.
Yep.
Our healthcare is policed differently. They assume that we can withstand pain. They
Yep.
assume that I can just say hello or walk with not smile. I have an attitude.
But you don't hear
Yeah.
feminists fighting for that.
But they
Well,
but they
thank
use
you.
but they
Well,
That
use
is what I'm getting at.
but they
fighting
use
for
our
that.
faces
And
though
that's
to
what, no,
push
I'm
the
agreeing
agenda.
with you. That's what I'm
Oh,
telling
man.
you.
But if you
they
go
will use
historically
our
though, it's
face.
always been like
It
that.
has always been
Yeah.
like that.
But they
Always.
will use our faces to push the agenda
And say, "We're
and they will
sisters,"
use us
and-
historically because
Well, you
they
need the
could not
votes.
do
Yeah.
anything. Because if you think about women, didn't have rights across the board, and then being a black woman, we really didn't have any rights. But we were the ones who were able to go to work and take care of families also. So you need me to spread your message. You need me to be the one to rally my friends to get it
Exactly.
going. So you because you just
I'm
can't say
glad
anything.
you say that
Exactly.
because I came across this article that was talking about a certain Jewish population in America and how they have no actual political affiliation. What they do is they rally all their people together. They're a part of this group, and they talk to each political candidate independently. And they say, what are you going to do for our community?
Yeah.
They weigh on the pros and cons, and whoever they deem and they vote for amongst themselves, they give their money behind that politician. And if they don't fulfill that, they don't get the money the next time
Wait a
around.
second. Y'all think that's a good idea?
That's an amazing idea.
Well, it sounds a lot like what we have in Washington already, which is
I
called
just need
lobbyists.
Absolutely. But it's only lobby that we don't have, and I think this specifically with the black
That's a good
community,
point.
where we
Lobbying for the community.
lobby, or we align ourselves so blindly to one political party because
That's
historically
true.
that's who we voted for, instead of actually saying, hey, we're not going to vote for you unless you do
Unless
this
But
you
you
for
know,
us.
this is
for us.
And
this
get
is
done.
this is the
That's
thing
true.
though. This is the key though, and this is one thing that we need to work on as a community of people of color is giving back, pulling up, and standing together. We're one of the few cultures that lost our our identity as takes a tribe type of thing. So you have Hispanics who will come here and have their whole community and feed back into the community.
That's true.
You have Jewish people who have always took care of their own. Always. Italians the same way. We get something, we leave.
Well, it's because it goes back to the whole cookout conversation.
Exactly.
It looked like that we were told and were treated and made to think that if you say you're for black people, then oh my God, you're not an American anymore. There's no American pride. But you don't hear this about, like, I've got a lot of Arab friends and they're super gung ho about what country they're from, what city they're from, all the history behind it. They'll make sure that they know, hey, I hate my people. I have heard them say I hate my people. I'm going to help them first. Because it's going to go back in our community. And we don't necessarily do that as much. And there's a huge, and I shouldn't say as much, like, cause there's obviously the huge movement towards that now.
It's push. Yeah, it's a
push.
Well,
we have to also some of the things that we argue about amongst ourselves when it comes to faith, religion, job, money, all these things.
All the
Systems
things.
of control.
And my thing is that you keep arguing about these things.
All the
Once
things.
publicly, you are helping them
Yes.
keep us back.
Yeah.
Because you're arguing about where I go on Sundays and what book I read.
And that's
when it comes down to is what
before.
about us as a people banding together? Fuck all that other shit.
Yeah, like,
but you
forget
want
it
to
all.
openly be mad at me
Yeah.
because I still go to church.
Yeah.
When the fact of the matter is,
because they go to that.
They
church
go to
down
that.
But
there.
the fact of the
They
matter
don't
is,
even go to
it's
church.
so
the fact
now,
that, oh, you believe
so
in
what
God?
they do, they're gonna sit
It's
back
like-
like this. They don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna keep the divide going.
Yeah, and-
They divided us
Yeah.
from the time we got here. They started it before they even brought us over here,
Yep.
and you're still keeping the
it's
divide going.
We're keeping the divide going
Because you're arguing about
we can't
foolishness.
See past our own differences.
You can have white people be mad as hell at each other, but the shit go down, they're
So-
not doing that
So
shit.
when my
Other's
mentor
back.
program gets off the ground, I'm glad
now?
you're saying, because one of the things I'm working on is a mentor program. To get back
Awesome.
in. So it's about 5 years down the road.
Oh my
Obviously,
God, I thought you were talking
I'm
next
still a
week.
capitalist.
How old am I gonna be?
So I
So
don't
you
know.
gonna be-
I don't
you
know.
gonna be
I'm
still
still,
young and
I'm
tender.
still in my
Still young and
20s.
tender, so I got you.
At least give me the nod. So
right.
y'all just be
100.
prepared.
Yeah.
Having a great time.
All this, I'm gonna cite this episode.
Okay.
Hey, you guys should be the first ones to volunteer to help with. this
Absolutely.
But
program.
I do. I mean, 'cause
Absolutely.
I believe in. I mean, that's one of the reasons I became a teacher or just involved with kids because I saw a need that needs to be fulfilled in schools. I'm a science teacher. How many black science teachers do you
Man,
see?
we need
Female
so-
at
we need
that.
so much
Female at
better
that.
Science literacy.
I know.
Holy shit.
But black female science teachers. How many do you really see
None.
that are willing to pull their hair back and set
Shit
stuff
on fire.
Yeah.
Because that's what I love
Yeah.
to do. Why? Because it's science. But a lot of my kids that I have taught had never had a black science teacher, never had a black female science teacher. So imagine what they see when they come in, like little black girls come in and see when they see me. Oh, what are we about to do? What's she about?
I get the
Black
reaction.
science
I mean, I'm not a science
I had
teacher.
a black chemistry teacher, AP. She was awesome.
Yeah, I
You
did
had to throw
too.
the AP out there.
I did
Yeah,
too.
But I get this. Well, you know,
She
No,
worked
I
for
did
a lot of
too.
private,
I did too,
chemistry-
my friend.
being
I'm
a
not
librarian, how many people do you?
Work
I mean,
for
ask all
this
the time. You're a
awesome.
librarian? Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
exactly.
I get girls walking. You really? I'm like, yeah. So you know,
Yeah.
I slang books all day. What's up? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
And
but
you're
I
able to talk about like
Yeah.
the education you went through,
Yeah.
like so you went to school to be a teacher. No, actually got my degree in biology, but it just felt this way because that's what I wanted to do. I
it's
felt
just
like you
sad
need to see
that,
me.
and my brother who chimed in, crabs in the barrel, crabs in the bucket.
Yeah.
People, they forget that mentality of excluding yourself from your own people
Yeah.
is you're continuing that cycle that was embedded.
Into us.
You know, so
to
what?
Take it, yeah. And
Make your own history, make your own culture. If this is what I know and understand, that's not even the biggest issue. Leave that shit alone. What are we going to do together to make our community better on a
Right.
whole? Forget it. And if you want to teach your children about this and that and not the
That's
Bible,
great.
that's fine. But at
That's
the end of the
fine.
day, what can we do?
to come together.
And
Learn
why
about
the
money.
hell are we fighting for the company?
Learn about money.
You know?
Learn about
That's what
money.
we
Yeah,
need to do.
why
Capitalism.
why are we fighting for the
Let's start with
company?
money.
Why we letting the world know we mad at each other behind this and that?
Who
What are you
going to
doing?
church and who not?
Why? What are you doing? Like on 4th of July weekend, the Thursday, you had folks blatantly mad at other people who was barbecuing. First of all, I like to cook.
I'm gonna eat me some food.
Fuck 4th of July. It's a day off.
I'm
I work
eating
for the
some
city.
food.
I get the day off. I was at home
My grandmother
chilling.
passed away on the 4th of July. So you know what I celebrate on the 4th of July?
Exactly.
Her life. And I do it big.
If I want to enjoy the day off, let me enjoy the day
Let
off.
me do it.
I'm
It's
not celebrating.
your business.
It's not my business. But you'll let the whole world know
that
we're still against each other.
Oh, you a sellout because you doing something on the 4th of July. Did you go to work?
Oh man, I used to get that all the time.
Did you go to work?
You enjoy the day off too, didn't you?
Did you?
caught them
I
sales,
bet
right?
you slept in.
Right.
Can I point out for a second?
Sorry.
we
Wesley.
just had a conversation about feminism, and I don't think anyone here disagreed with anybody. That is, no, but I'm serious.
I
That
know
is
what you're
that
getting
is the. I mean, if people really broke down, we talked about this a second ago. It was like nobody wants women to get paid 30 cents less.
Yeah.
Duh.
Right.
Right.
Nobody wants women to have less rights.
Right.
Duh.
Yeah.
Right. So what is all this? What is all this about? It's about overzealous people that are getting online. Now, the example I always use, Meryl Streep. I hate to beat her up. She's a fantastic actress. But Meryl Streep gets up there and just rants and raves about the pay gap. And I'm not here to argue. We're not going to go into the rabbit hole. Does the pay gap exist, or do women choose different professions? We don't know. Hopefully, it doesn't exist. If it does, we need to fix it. I think we can all agree on that. But she goes up and starts ranting and raving about the pay gap when she is literally in the last profession that has a casting couch. You figure, and I think that we all kind of agreed on this, there's all these feminism issues that we smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. Everybody was passionate about women shouldn't be stoned to death in countries where men aren't stoned to death for infidelity. Women just now got to drive cars in Saudi Arabia.
No, that's true.
That's a battlefront that feminism needs to take on. So it just seems like, I think where men get frustrated with feminism is there all these smoke and mirrors topics when there's actually real battlefronts out there that need to be taken care of. Meryl Streep kind of coming to the front saying, pay gap, pay gap, pay gap.
Well, she's not even, that's not even her battle.
Yeah,
How long
that's
has
not her
Meryl
battle.
Streep been in Hollywood?
That's true.
So
Does she know about the Harvey Weinstein stuff?
Yeah.
that
I'm
happened?
glad you brought
Was
that
she
up because
part of
I
it?
have a
Could
question.
she have
Okay.
eliminated it?
That's a
What's
very
your
good
question?
Very
question.
interesting
And by the
question.
How
way-
many women did know about that? Who?
The
How
fact
many
that
people
matter
made a
is they
deal and
did.
had buyer's remorse? Because here's the thing. No, here's the I have a bit, and this is,
Damn.
at the risk
Wow.
of you say that, but
Wow,
here's
no,
something that's a conversation that men will tell you all the time. If you're dealing with a man and some dude comes up to me and says something crazy, out of line, and proposition says, hey, you have to do this to get this job. If it's not in line with what I want or who I am, there's probably a fight that's going to ensue.
Right.
Probably going to swing a fist.
Right, right.
You have, and this is just my opinion, there was one person in this Harvey Weinstein whole thing where she was propositioned by him and she left Hollywood completely.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what?
And that's
That
terrible.
wo-
That's
yeah,
terrible.
that
She
woman
couldn't
right
work the
there,
job she wanted to work.
Totally harassed.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But then you've got other people who came out against him, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he sexually harassed me and did this and all that stuff, or propositioned me and threatened me with blackballing. And then you find out that they're asking him on dates after this happened for 4 years and dated him and all this. And so consent isn't the
can't be
question
both.
of this.
You can't be
If
both.
you have a problem with it and you got and you didn't want the money and you felt a certain way, then I side with you. And I'm willing to hear you discuss it. But if you benefited from this for 10, 15 years, and then you come back later and say, guess what, I didn't like this then,
Well, we'll
but you
see.
had
And
a
if you benefited-
4-year email chain with him,
We'll see
If
what's
you
going to
benefited
happen.
from it for 15 years,
I kind
then
of call
don't
bullshit
act
on
like
that.
you're courageous being a feminist talking
Yeah.
about the wage
After
gap,
you're
Meryl
you're in a
Streep.
safe spot now.
I
to
can't
do
debate
this.
you on that. I mean, you're
I
right.
have no debate.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
completely 100%
well,
agree.
And that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. And I think all four people that we've been sitting here this whole podcast, and I think the reason that we've all been kind of on the same page, we've disagreed on a few things, but I think we're being very genuine about what we're talking about. I think we're being very passionate what we're talking about. And I think the internet's full of people that are very disingenuous and who want to be
Just wanna
viewed a
yell.
certain
They
way.
just
I
wanna
just
yell.
they want to be
And-
heard.
and be pat on
That's,
the back.
that
and
goes
say,
into that
yeah,
fake
you
outrage
yelled
thing.
and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
We're not
Exactly.
going to get to because we had so much else to get to. But that's that
Yeah.
fake outrage. I think some people just want to be part of the conversation, and they're really not part of the conversation.
Exactly.
I want an extra 10 or 15
Exactly.
likes.
And that's basically
That's all it is.
That's all it is. It's
wanna
that
debate
clout.
people,
It's that
it's the
clout.
clout.
It's the clout chasers. Like, oh, I want to be seen. Like,
And
let
there
me
is
say something
nothing-
stupid and get everybody in an outrage.
And also, there is nothing wrong with limiting what you say
On the internet.
on the internet because of certain things that could happen. I'm not selling out. I'm not saying I condone it, but you have to be careful. Think about what you have going on in your life, and also my yelling. What's the benefit
What's
of
going to
it?
benefit?
I have a question. That
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be like really elaborate, but one of the things that keeps coming up with these conversations, not here, but
Overall,
nationally, is that one group is wielding power for sexual exploitation in like just normal conversation. But isn't that typically what happens in just a regular conversation? Take sex out of it, but there's always some kind of
A
power dynamic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
My issue with it is, and this is a whole nother show and do this again. But my issue with just the climate of and the rawness of the way the world is right now and how people just ride these waves. Everyone has to be really careful of what they say, how they say it, because it can be twisted and turned, and all they do is
I'm
the
terrified
negative.
right now with stuff.
Of course.
Yeah, it's out there, but
it's out there, but it just is what it is.
They run with it, and that's my issue with toxic people, because you have your own issues you're dealing with. Like you said, it's a learned behavior, and now I'm just telling you, hey, how you doing? Because my hand has touched this shoulder. Oh, hell, now I'm going to get sued. I've harassed you. I'm losing my job, all these things. And it come out, it was innocent. No one here's the innocent part of it. Now I've lost everything. And that's what the men are going through.
Some of them. But there's also, but then, and I think it's a small group of people who've destroyed this whole thing. Because there's like a video, I think on Ricky Gervais' show, actually. Not his. One of those, there's an English comedian that has like a late night talk show.
I know you're talking about.
And then you have this guy come by and cup this woman's ass on TV, and he's just sitting there squeezing. That shit, which does happen, girls walk through a club, grabs their ass, all that shit should be totally condemned.
And you get punched and knocked out and have to run out the club. And tell your coach why your hand
They
is
get a lot more live with it too. Like
Yeah.
when they get above the age of 60, they get a lot more live with
But the things that we do as women,
Dirty
men
old
cannot
men.
do.
Yeah, but
You
then that
know.
goes back to this whole idea of that there are differences between men and women.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also in this climate, you can't really say that because
You can't.
equal and fair, for some reason, have to be the same thing.
Well, there's a thing too where women are really. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Janae.
I interrupted
I'm just
you.
saying it's not. If you don't, I guess this is my personal opinion and my personal belief. If I don't want it done to me, I'm not going to do it to you. You know,
Right.
if I don't want you touching me inappropriately, I'm not going to touch you inappropriately.
Right.
And like you said, equal and fair. I do feel like women who do things like that and they cry that fake outrage, like, I know he better not touch me. Like, no, you can't do that, because I know for sure that you would go and grab his junk if you got the chance.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's not fair to that man, because if he hauls off and like pushes you down,
Just like women who hit on men.
exactly.
And then, like, there was a video out where this girl was just beating dude.
In the car, did you see it? The car video.
So she
Like,
called him up.
Yeah,
Wait,
she
what
called him.
is this?
So there's a video that's out, and I guess they had broken up, but she called him. She was drunk, and he went and picked her up, and he started recording, and so she wouldn't get out the car. He's like, "Look, just get out the car."
Yeah, she was hitting
And she was
him
cursing, and she started
cussing.
hitting him and taking his keys, and was like beating him in the
Yeah.
car. He was like, "Stop!" And flip the script. If he pushed her out, she'd be the first one calling
She'd
the
be
cops.
the first one to call the cops, and then
All
and
these
then
things.
they'll both get arrested until the story gets straight.
Right.
But in reality, it's not fair. Like you
No.
can't do something to a man and expect him not to react.
And I'm not condoning anything.
I'm not either.
Don't come
but
for
if
me.
you
We're not
don't
condoning
either,
anything.
do not come for me, because I'm not saying that.
We're not
I'm saying
saying
keep
that.
your hands to yourself.
But if you're going to scream certain things and call for certain things, be mindful of your own actions
of your
and what you're
actions.
doing.
Yes.
It also goes back to this thing that he pointed out with Trump. There's a lack of accountability from people on their day-to-day
They don't feel they have
lives.
to anymore.
Yeah.
With him in office, I'm
don't
not
feel
saying
like-
it was any
I think it
better.
started before that, though.
It has,
do
but it's
too.
like, I don't know, maybe because I'm older and I'm noticing it more, but it's like, y'all just don't give a shit.
Just
I'm younger
saying
and I still see
anything.
this shit.
Just
You
just
know?
been
There are
like
people like my peer group where they'll do things. I'm like, well, you realize there are repercussions
To
you
your
might not feel
actions.
right now,
But
in
later
like
on,
two or
they
three
don't
years,
care.
There's going
They
to
don't
be a
care.
thing. Like you have accountability is a real thing. I don't give a shit what anyone
They
says.
do not care.
Express yourself how you want to, do what
Yeah.
you want to, but just understand that there is a consequence, whether good or bad, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead and say like,
These-
call
say
me a
what you
nigger.
say,
And you
but
can
if
say it.
somebody
Freedom of
punches you in the
speech.
face,
Boom. That was my. You can't control how I respond to it.
And that goes back to, and we're going to close out in this and let y'all talk about yourselves. That goes back to being mindful of what you're saying, because it's out there not forever.
Yeah.
You can't have a certain. I know people change and mindsets change, all these things, but if you put it out there on social media, be it pictures, be it a fucking tweet, whatever it is, remember, if you come back later on with some other shit, they gonna pull that stuff up on you, and you may lose your job, you may lose your husband, your family, whatever it may be. We may tell you, why you mad you ain't getting looked at. You told the other day you didn't want anybody looking at you. Aisha Curry, you didn't want anybody looking at you before. So why the fuck you worried about somebody looking at you now? You said before your body is for your husband. You talk about women who used to dress a little whatever, looking cute,
and now you trying to figure out
why nobody. I mean, don't come from me. I understand why she said it. I get it, but everyone knows fully well that a man, let Steph has said, "Damn, nobody give me any attention." They would have drug his ass through the internet. True.
See, but even with that, and
I'm gonna leave that alone.
I agree with you on that. But there's that whole thing with that. People want to say whatever they want. And let's say she wanted to change her mind. That's fine. But you still have to. It comes back to that thing that you can't control how people react to what you say and do.
That's why I don't say shit.
Yeah, and that's a good policy to have.
I don't say shit.
And I also want to say I'm a really good person, and anything that offended anybody here, don't worry about it. I didn't mean anything. I was told to be an asshole.
Can I add something to what you
go
just
ahead
said?
And add, and it'll be the last thing.
And I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
But I do really think this is important. You were saying, everything is there's a record of everything we're saying, every tweet, we know what happened with Kevin Hart. But I do, and that's the world we live in 2019.
Yep.
But if we're doing a podcast and we're really trying to put a message out there and help people, I really do think we need to start thinking about a way to transcend, like, the person I was at age 16 is not the person I am at age 42.
I said that on my podcast.
We need to give people,
yes,
we need to give people a path to forgiveness.
Grow,
and say, hey, Kevin Hart may have said that back then, but let's let him host the Oscars.
See if there's a pattern of that.
That's not who he is today.
How have you changed?
Now check this though. That is accurate. But if you feel that way, you have to feel that way about everything, and we're not there, because if you was racist 20 years ago and you was standing up there with
see, I don't agree with
what
that.
I'm saying though is, if you want to say people change, you have to have that same liberty across the board.
Yeah, we're not saying.
Oh yeah, okay.
People still got to prove it.
Oh yeah, they have.
No,
that's my thing. You got to prove.
You have to prove it. But we're not
No.
even there to want. As soon as we see it,
you cancel.
You
are canceled.
Yeah,
we have selective forgiveness.
Yeah. Arlene, the way back and the way to forgive people is not some bullshit apology. I'd like to say that I'm sorry to Arlene's podcast for saying the following. It's fake. But if someone has a track record of 10 years of being like, man, I used to be racist 15 years ago, and now I had someone move in Vietnamese next door to me, and I used to hate Vietnamese because my father died in the Vietnam War, but I'm talking about that Clint Eastwood movie. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like I met somebody, man, I misjudge these people, and we need to give them a path back, because otherwise you can never get back. Because now with Twitter,
that's the thing is we don't do that. I work in a very old town. I'm the only black librarian they gonna come see. Okay, and I have people who come in who are 90-something years old who may call me gal. I had one person call me colored.
Oh my!
Oh shit! Yo, Jada got called colored one time.
Yeah. Hey, Colorado. That nice pretty little colored gal helped me. It's happened, and I don't, and I'm not saying that it's okay, because it's not. But they're 95 years old, and you know what I mean?
Makes me feel better. The town that my family's from, my white side of the family is still divided from the black side of my family by a lake to this day. Yeah,
it's just, and somebody's like, "What? You're not upset?" I said, first of all, they're 95. They've heard so many terminology change, right? Why am I going to give them a heart attack and say, "What the fuck you call me"? You know what I mean? Hear your book. Here you can hear your book.
It's only been one time where I've seen somebody react because they were just done. Yeah, they were done. And that whole reaction was total, because man kind of had to snap back into himself. He kind of got to like, I was like, and I had to put my head down. I was like, let me just go to my. Let me just go to my. I did. I said
she won't be here very long.
I said, here's your book. I said, I'm going to my office. I said, I'm going to my office. I'll be back in a second. But I want to say thank y'all so much.
You're welcome.
This
this
was
was a lot of
interesting.
fun.
There was so much more that I wanted to talk
We
about.
didn't have enough time at all. You sure you don't want to pay for the extra hour?
We're not doing the extra hour. We all just have to come back.
Yeah.
But before we go, I definitely want to thank Wesley, thank
Thank you.
Howard, thank Janae. Janae, tell everyone where they can find you, what's going on with you.
You can find me at confessionsfromaredcouch.com. That is the website. And then Instagram and Facebook are the same thing, Confessions from a Red Couch. You could go to the merch site, buy a shirt, do some things. T-shirts on sale. The
podcast
book.
here selling merchandise?
Yes. The book will be available in August. Just got to work some copyright things. And then, we're going to make it happen in this piece. Yes. And there should be a link. Oh, yeah, there's a link somewhere. Yeah, just click on the
Her
link.
tree.
Yeah, click on my link tree. Oh, that's the blog page.
All right, blog page.
Oh, there it is.
Yay.
Just the blog page just right on it.
this.
So just go on, come in, have a seat, read some things,
Awesome blog,
Yeah,
awesome topic.
Thank you so much. Thank
So
you. thank
positive.
you.
Your Facebook page and your Instagram
Yeah.
page.
Yeah, thanks.
yeah.
I try to be.
There's
I try
her,
to share
there's
love.
the link tree, so you can find her on all of those things.
Yeah, I just want to share love.
Share love.
Because that's who I am. Unless you really piss me off. And then
And
you see that other side.
Mr.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Howard
Well,
Jerome.
Talk about it.
so once again, thank you for having me here.
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, you can find me at Howard_Jerome, or you can find me on Wednesdays. Not this Wednesday, because I'm going out of town, and same thing
But
next
still
Wednesday.
tune in Wednesday
Most
for Intermission.
Wednesdays
Yes.
at 6:30 at Intermission Pod. If you're a business owner and you're looking for help with your marketing, you can find me at edwardsmediasolutions.com. It's a very beautiful website. I worked very hard on that,
Yeah.
as I do with all my clients who like to make money and don't want to fail. You can follow us on Instagram at Edwards Media Solutions.
I don't want to fail.
Hey, if you don't want to fail,
I
failure
don't wanna
sucks. I
fail.
promise you.
I failed several times in
we'll
my
take care of you. But yeah, if you guys want to hear me talk more shit, join us on Intermission at 6:30. It's every Wednesday. We drop the Facebook link on there. Early is there sometimes. Oh, it's the Facebook page. Yeah,
I'm there. I'm more than sometimes. I come every other week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the website's more impressive than that.
I have your website on there also.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna be checking this out. We have a podcast coming out, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. About
we talk shit about movie and TV. Oh yeah,
I
I'll
gotta
help you
hit
out,
you
man.
up.
I've been doing that for
Yeah,
for
you're
years.
doing marketing.
Definitely.
How long have you had your business now for?
My business turns 2 years in October,
Why
but I've
did I
been
know
working
this?
for marketing companies.
There it
for
is. There's your
5, 6
website.
years. Yeah,
It is
God.
pretty. It's
And my
beautiful.
baby has like his own.
I did that.
Yeah, I'm
Look
gonna
at that. You
have
see
to
that?
look.
You see that fade? Oh yeah. That's that.
Okay.
I see that. I see that.
Okay.
That's sexy marketing. Yeah, I built that from the ground up. You guys are
Yeah,
welcome.
that's a, hit you up.
So if you need marketing
Mhm.
help for your business, definitely hit up.
If you want to buy me a beer, that works too. We'll talk.
You're gonna pay him some money. Thank you.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm expensive.
Run him some change. He's like, I'm expensive. Don't do
yeah.
that.
I'll lead every meeting that way.
So Intermission on Wednesdays.
Intermission's on Wednesdays.
Edwards is Edwards Media. Edwards Consulting
Media Solutions.
Solutions for the marketing needs.
I'll be popping in on this show apparently because I know this is going to get the most ratings.
Something like a pimp. Wesley.
I'm trying to be like you.
I
Oh,
mean, I'm hot.
You've got T-shirts. You've got merchandise. Like
I'm
I need
just
to step my
saying.
game up.
yeah, I feel so inept.
You're not
Don't,
inept. You're
don't,
not
you're
inept.
not.
No, I think everybody is excited about the podcast that coming up weekly. Me and Anne Hathaway talk about what it's like to be a black person.
That's so good.
We're
A black person in America.
Black person in
yeah,
America.
we're looking out for people.
At the
No,
cookout.
yeah, please do follow me. There we go at Redcoat on Instagram. Anthony Bailey, who's a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
We are about to start our podcast, and I'm excited to get on here and kind of get my feet wet in the game. And I tell you what, I came on, I saw the topics. I was so nervous about, man, we're going to be arguing the whole time. This is a really good experience for me, knowing that, like, man, people aren't just so separated. You know, we agree on a lot of these things, and it does kind of feel like sometimes it's a bigger force that's making us feel like
I
we
create a
disagree,
peaceful space. I
right?
don't allow nonsense. This is a judgment-free
Safe
zone.
spaces.
Safe space.
I
Yeah,
like
sorry.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. You see what I did
no.
there?
They're running out for men.
Yeah,
and
but
even more
I-
so for white men.
Yes.
There you go.
The clear people. But I
people.
I want to say thank you for coming, definitely. Because I know this is your first podcast. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
These are vets over here. But I like to make sure that we have a safe space. We did not cover everything because there's so much we could have covered, and we will do this again. Same people are going to do this again. I don't know when, but we're going to do it again before the year is out. But definitely for this show, share the Facebook Live.
Yes.
Go to my website. You can find me on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud,
Like her things.
iHeartRadio. Like my things. That's my website.
Subscribe to her things.
That
That's
website
a good-ass
is
picture
of me, boy. I'm like,
gorgeous. I saw it the
Look
other
at
day.
angles.
I
Look at
said,
Angles. Oh.
hey, it's not
Hashtag
angles. That's
model
that's
life.
that's that shit.
I just
Um,
learned about having angles. By the
Yeah,
way.
you
Apparently I'm really shitty
you
at
know you're
taking
pretty and
pictures.
shit. So
What?
go to my website.
I don't know what you're
I'm trying
talking
to
about.
update it every day. You can find me on, like I said, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio,
Where's the purple again?
SoundCloud,
Not like the purple.
Speaker, live here every other Tuesday. I'll be going weekly in August. And on my website, you can find the latest episode will be up, so you can look at it. And also, if you want to support what I do, subscribe to me on Patreon. It's $3, $5, and $7 monthly. And if you want to be a sponsor or advertise with me, hit me up. My show gets major views,
Don't rub it in
major
my face.
traffic.
Hey,
And
Intermission's
we can
doing
partner
good.
with that as well. I'll have the information out pretty soon. Merchandise is coming in August. T-shirts, cups, and hats and shit. You know, I'm something like a motherfucking pimp, Howard.
I've been trying to get
And,
T-shirts, cups, and hats on my show forever.
Right.
Pimp a
And I'm
hog.
on Intermission.
Yeah,
I'm on Intermission as well. We do movies
and
and
I- we
TV,
need it. Oh my God.
you know,
help you.
with them on Wednesdays.
I
So
know how to
God.
do those things. I can help you. I can
can't.
do those things.
I'm a marketer, and I am terrible at marketing my own stuff.
Yeah.
I am.
Clients love me.
Anyway,
Man.
thanks for tuning in. We're just rambling now.
Like
Thanks for
Jada will
tuning
tell you,
in.
I say this shit all the time. Like I see Earlene everywhere,
Stop talking.
but nothing for Intermission.
I used to do it all
You
the time.
have two
Intermission.
shows.
I'm living like a motherfucking pimp. Anyway, please share my show.
Share
I'm
her
also
show.
on YouTube.
Like her thing.
It'll be on there by tomorrow. So I'll be on
Hey.
YouTube, everything else, like my things.
Y'all need to subscribe to our YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
number
absolutely.
one, we that shit. Just not the shit. We are that shit.
We're that shit.
We're that shit. And then two, like, come on now. We find them
we find it in a
just gotta get
motherfucker.
inside.
In real
No,
life, too.
nobody would disagree with that.
And I also want to shout out podcasters who have been supporting
Yes,
us.
I did the same thing.
So,
Thank you guys.
Give me a quick second. Talker Brothers, Ghost and Big G, and Intermission Podcast, Millennial Thought Spot Podcast,
Don't
What?
forget, Who
Confessions-
Raised You Hoes?
Who Raised You Hoes.
I love that
Yo,
name.
these
I
names
love
are great.
them.
Who Raised You
Who
Hoes?
Raised
Y'all
Thought
are
Spot and Who Raised You Hoes.
amazing.
Let me tell you
Yeah,
something.
Thought Spot, yeah.
Who
I
Raised
need
Your
to go on
Hoes
Who
had a
Raised You
show
Hoes. This sounds
out,
hilarious.
and they hit
It was
something.
like
They said
last
something that
week.
hit
Their
really
episode.
hard.
Oh my gosh.
I can't.
What
even
is that
think
show
of
about? Because it sounds like it
Okay.
can be two different things.
Wait,
talk about that later. We'll
So,
talk about it.
but
If
I'm
it's
sorry.
talk
Let me
show like this,
focus.
we'll talk about it
Sorry. So, barbershop podcast,
Sounds like it could be two different things.
millennial thought podcast, woke shit podcast, Who Raised You Hoes,
The R&B.
the R&B podcast,
R&B
the TDR Network podcast,
We
Change Space,
appreciate you guys.
irregular podcast. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize.
Guys, we appreciate y'all
Thank
for
you so
supporting
much.
us
And she
and,
creates for always promoting us.
and she
Awesome.
creates always. She's
That Boom
amazing
Bap,
too.
Intermission, Vivid Vibe, all of you so much.
We
Thank you for
appreciate
tuning in. We're gonna do
y'all.
this again. I will see you on the 30th. I'll have some podcast friends. It'll be Talker Brothers and Ghost and Big G will be Skyped in, and we'll just have some hot topics. So see you next time. Share, like my shit, like our shit.
Subscribe.
Bye.
Like our things. Bye, guys.